Well, folks, the data is in, and based on everything that is available right now, it would appear that the young voters in the United States, Generation Z and the millennials, are the ones who propelled Joe Biden to victory in the 2020 election. And basically, by extension of that, the youth are the ones who saved us from Donald Trump. Gen Z and millennial voters accounted for 31% of total votes cast in 2020. So finally, this voting bloc that showed up again in droves, almost a third of total votes cast came from these young Americans. They set the stage. They realized their power. They showed up after years and years of hearing the abuse of, the young voters, they don't ever show up. And they didn't, to a degree. Certainly not in the numbers we needed them to. But guess what? When we needed them to finally step up, they stepped up, and they stepped up big time. Among Generation Z voters, it was an increase of 289% in their turnout. 289% increase. And sure, part of that is due to the fact that some of them couldn't vote in 2016. So obviously, more people are able to vote. You're going to see a massive increase. But among millennials, who were all eligible to vote, by the way, in 2016, the increase there, what was it? 27%. A 27% increase from 2016 to 2020. And of course, both of these age groups overwhelmingly went for Biden, not for Trump. That is remarkable. And sure, Biden made, I think he had a 3% increase in the older voters over what Hillary Clinton got in 2016. So only a 3% jump there. Donald Trump still carried a majority of older voters here in the United States. But the youth chose Biden. The youth effectively rejected the fascism that we were starting to see creep out during the Trump administration. And they said, we want something better. We want something different. And most of these voters in these two age groups, what's happened throughout their lives? I mean, okay, we're talking about people born like 1980 to 2000. So in that 20-year span, actually 40-year span now, what have they lived through? Recessions under Ronald Reagan, deregulation under Bill Clinton that led to a massive economic bubble, then 9/11, then tax cuts for the wealthy, even more so than what we got under Reagan. So more Reaganomics, massive economic collapse, the big banks failing, begging for bailouts, getting those bailouts. The public was left out in the cold. The housing market crashed. 8 years of Obama and an economic recovery that excluded the working class. Then 4 years of Trump, once again trickle-down Reaganomics, which failed them. Stagnating wages, no increases in the minimum wage, a global pandemic, all before most of these people reached the age of 40. And sure, every other voter older than these also lived through those exact same things. However, that's all this age group knows. They didn't necessarily go out and get jobs during the time when it was easy to get jobs. You know, they were left out of that economic bubble of the Clinton years because they were too young. Maybe their parents benefited, but a lot of those parents ended up with nothing once it all came crashing down. This has been their life. And they wanted something different. They wanted something better. And they knew that what we had was taking us down the wrong path. The question is, will they maintain? Are they going to show up in the midterms in 2022? Are they going to show up again in 2024? Are they going to reject the right wing still? Or are they going to become more conservative if the Democrats do not deliver? That's the big question. And those are questions that won't be answered until those elections happen. But we learned one thing from 2020. You cannot discount the youth vote. You cannot write them off, and you cannot shame them. Because if it weren't for them, Donald Trump would still be president.